Turns out the biggest barrier to safety in Maui wasn't the ocean, it was Oprah's property line. While sirens were going off across Maui and people were literally stuck in traffic trying to get out of harm's way, Oprah's private 4-mile road, the one that cuts straight through her 1,000-acre estate like a golden ticket to safety, was locked up tighter than Fort Knox. And no, this isn't some rumor. This is documented, mapped, filmed, and screamed about on the internet while everyone else was screaming for their lives. Now, before we get into the firestorm, let's rewind real quick. Remember last year's Maui wildfires? The ones that destroyed Lahaina and left thousands homeless? Oprah showed up then too, not with food, not with shelter, but with her camera crew and a giant smile, asking people who barely had a roof over their heads to donate to her disaster fund. You heard that right. The billionaire and her buddy The Rock tossed in a few million, which for them is like dropping a quarter in a tip jar, and then asked the American public, the same people choosing between gas and groceries, to chip in. People were mad then, but now they're furious. This time, it's not just about optics. It's about people literally being stuck in traffic with their kids, with tsunami sirens howling like horror movie sound effects, and the one road that could have saved lives was blocked, gated, guarded by police. And the road? It's Oprah's, straight up. She owns the largest private estate on the island, 1,000 acres. That's not a house, that's a country. And slicing through it is a private road that leads directly from the coast up to higher ground, aka the safe zone. But instead of opening the gates and letting people escape, she kept it closed. Locals begged. Tourists panicked. Parents held onto their kids, hoping the waves wouldn't catch them. And what was Oprah doing? Podcasting in her tea room. That's not a joke. While people were posting videos begging for help, Oprah was online talking about wellness and energy and whatever other billionaire buzzwords she throws around when things get too real. You know how people say, read the room? Oprah burned the room down and built a spa on the ashes. And let's be clear, this wasn't a misunderstanding. People knew exactly what road they needed. You can see the traffic maps. You can see the videos, the red lines of cars stuck along the only open routes. And that blue sliver on the map, that was Oprah's road. It would have cut the evacuation time in half, maybe more. Instead, it was guarded by cops. Yep, actual law enforcement, keeping desperate families from using a road that literally no one else lives on except Oprah. Imagine that. You're stuck in gridlock, your kid's crying, the ocean's roaring behind you, and the fastest way out is behind a gate you can't touch because it might upset a billionaire's grass. And before anyone says, well, maybe she didn't know, come on. Oprah's team knows when a leaf falls out of place on her property. You really think she didn't know an entire island was evacuating? This isn't a secret tsunami. The sirens were blasting. Social media was flooded. Reporters were calling it out in real time. People were tagging her directly. This wasn't ignorance, it was indifference. And it wasn't until people lost it on X that the gate finally opened. That's the part that hits the hardest. It didn't take emergency alerts. It didn't take begging families. It took public shaming. That's what finally pushed her to do the bare minimum. And by that point, the damage was already done. Not just to her reputation, which, let's be honest, is in the toilet right now, but to the trust people once had in her. Oprah used to be the gold standard. She was the you get a car lady. She was the one who cried with guests and gave away houses and made people feel seen. But lately, she's been acting like the final boss of elite detachment. People aren't stupid. They remember. They remember the wildfires. They remember her asking for donations while standing in front of her perfectly manicured garden. They remember the video of her going door to door with camera crews offering to buy burned land from survivors. They remember her being more interested in optics than outcomes. And now, they'll remember this. They'll remember the mom who said she was stuck in traffic with her children, hearing the sirens and knowing they might not make it to higher ground in time. They'll remember the videos of people yelling, "Open the road, Oprah," while cops stood by the gate. They'll remember that she owns an entire mountain and still couldn't be bothered to share a path to safety. Let's not sugarcoat it. This wasn't just a PR fail. This was a moral one. In moments like these, billionaires have a choice. They can either act like humans or act like royalty. Oprah chose the crown. And yeah, some people will say, but she opened it eventually. Yeah, after hours of backlash, after trending across social media, after being dragged so hard that even her inner circle probably started sweating. She didn't do it because it was right. She did it because it was bad press. You know what real leaders do? They open the damn gate before anyone has to ask. And don't come in here talking about private property rights. When people's lives are on the line, when children are stuck in cars trying to outrun a wave, you don't get to play Monopoly with real roads. You do the right thing, period. The worst part? The internet had to bully Oprah into saving lives. Think about that. That's where we're at. The people who built her up, who watched her show, bought her books, supported her empire, they're the ones who had to yell loud enough for her to even look up from her espresso. It's hard to come back from that. Because now, every time she talks about compassion or community or giving back, people will remember that time she had a golden key to safety and chose to keep it in her pocket. And don't even get me started on the police. Why were they even there? Taxpayer-funded officers guarding a billionaire's road during a natural disaster? That's not public safety, that's private security on our dime. Imagine being turned away by a cop when your only crime is trying not to drown. It's outrageous. And it's part of a bigger pattern. These ultra-rich celebrities love to preach about fairness and community until they're the ones asked to give up an inch. They talk about giving back, but treat public disasters like branding opportunities. They'll sell you on healing crystals and spiritual awakening, but won't give up a literal driveway when lives are on the line. And yet, they wonder why people are turning on them. It's because when the masks fall off, what's underneath isn't kindness, it's control, it's ego. It's that same attitude of, I'm above all this, that has people boiling. Because when the waves are coming and the roads are blocked and all you want is a chance to get your family to safety, you're not looking for a billionaire's podcast, you're looking for a way out. And Oprah had it. And she said no, until the internet screamed loud enough to make her flinch. So yeah, maybe she opened it eventually. Maybe she let people through when the pressure got too hot. But the fact that it even had to come to that tells you everything. We're not asking for miracles. We're asking for basic decency. We're asking the people with more than enough to act like it. We're asking the woman who built her brand on empathy to actually practice it. But maybe that's the problem. Maybe the brand is all there ever was. Because if this is who Oprah is now, gatekeeping safety, podcasting through chaos, hiding behind guards while her neighbors beg for help, then the mask isn't slipping, it's off, and we see it, loud and clear.